authorities leading Operation Kae Molao, been a very serious spate of crimes there in recent weeks. Manqoba Mchunu there for us. You're with the Gauteng Premier, Manqoba.
Indeed, Garrett, we're here with the Gauteng Premier, David Makhura, of course, has been on the ground since the early hours of the morning, attending this particular operation that is taking here today. It is a multidisciplinary operation, as I explained earlier on. There are quite a number of law enforcement officials that are here on the ground to ensure that they check everything here on the ground in terms of law enforcement, in terms of people abiding to the law. But I'm just going to jump straight to the Premier just to get a sense of what they've seen this morning so far. Premier, thank you for your time. You've obviously been here on the ground since very early this morning. What have you seen so far in terms of compliance to law enforcement here in Tembisa?
Well, let me first thank you for joining us in this anti-crime operations Kae Molao. Today we are in Tembisa. Tembisa is one of the areas that are in the top 10 of high crime areas in Gauteng. In particular here, the level of gender-based violence is very, very high. The police do overnight operations as they across the province on Thursdays. They do that. They have arrested already over 800 suspects. Some of these are the most wanted suspects. Tembisa also is an area where the police have identified that a lot of most wanted suspects commit crimes elsewhere and come and hide here in Tembisa. They also arrested earlier this week one of the suspects of the cash in transit gang that had a shootout with the police at Rosettenville. One of those suspects was tracked back down here to Tembisa. So the police are really doing their work. On the street so far this morning, we met a lot of community members who are really in compliance. Many of them are in compliance. We have been searching the vehicles. We have been checking the vehicles. We're looking for any stolen vehicles and also illegal firearms. And the people on the streets are happy to see the police. I want to say in Gauteng province, police are intensifying their activities. The crime rate has been going very high. Crime is now, together with unemployment and jobs, the top two concerns facing the people of our province. I did say during the State of the Province address that we know criminals are getting more sophisticated, but the police in Gauteng are also strengthening their response. There are integrated teams, special teams of police involving the different law enforcement agencies. They've been able to crack down on this cash in transit gang and track it down. They've also been, just in the last few days, been able to crack down on the kidnapping. There's been the rise in kidnappings as well as a matter of great concern. The police have also been able to track down. They have arrested suspects related to kidnappings. On gender-based violence, they've also been, just overnight, they've arrested over 189 suspects related to that.
Let me ask this issue. Excuse me, Premier, because, of course, Gauteng is quite a concern when it comes to crime. We do know that it contributes about 27% of crime here in South Africa. Do you think, though, it's enough to have operations like this, or should, perhaps, are you looking into more, in terms of your crime-fighting initiatives as government, where you are going to be actively involved in the fight against crime?
Yes, certainly Operation Kae Molao has been fairly successful. We know that they don't do it only on Thursdays. They go every weekend throughout Gauteng, completely unannounced. They get into different areas and carry out anti-crime operations. Thursday, we often highlight particular areas. As I speak today, they are doing that work throughout the province. We certainly need more intensification of this, but we also need more police men and women on the ground. In this province, the ratio of police to residents is very, very high. We have much fewer police and then more residents, so we would really like increase in the number of police. We know it's a national function. We need more police officers. We also need more police resources. The men and women I have met of the different specialized teams and the specialized units, each one of them that cracks down, there's the ones that are dealing with the disruption of infrastructure projects. They've been doing very successful operations. There's also one dealing with the killings. Some of these political killings that have happened, particularly in Tshwane. That team has also been doing work. So there are specialized units that are deployed. So I would like to say that we would want to see them more resources. The provincial government had to come on board. We had to procure more vehicles for the police in our province. Particularly.
Okay. But what assurance, Premier, can you give to residents of Gauteng in terms of crime? What can you promise residents of Gauteng who are very concerned, of course, about the increase in crime?
All I can say to the people of Gauteng is that the police across Gauteng, all integrated law enforcement operations are intensifying. The police are responding. We know criminals. Each area where we have had a high rate of crime, specialized teams have been established and they are cracking down on those, and we will win the war against crime.
Okay. Thank you very much, Premier, for your time. The Premier of Gauteng speaking to us. They are assuring citizens of Gauteng that they will do their best to fight crime in the province. Of course, it has been quite an issue of concern for many residents. You speak to people in the CBD, they'll tell you that they feel unsafe just walking on the streets of Johannesburg. So the Premier saying that they will be focusing, they'll be zooming in on certain areas that are known to be hotspots here in the province to ensure that they really up the ante when it comes to fighting crime in the province.
Well, Manqoba Mchunu, thank you very much indeed. Kae Molao in full swing again. Looks like they're not going to let anything go. But is it getting results? That was the question from Manqoba, and a very good one at that. Where we